If you go into any shul during the month of Nissan, you'll see a lot of happy people. Why? Not because of the upcoming Yom Tov of Pesach. In fact, Pesach usually engenders lots of anxiety, a lot of cleaning to do, a lot of work to be done. So that's not the reason they're happy. The reason that any shul goer is happy in Nissan is, of course, there's no tachanun. For a whole month, there is no tachanun. Not only is there no tachanun, there's no hespedim, no eulogies given at funerals. And the question is why? Why for the entire month of Nissan do we get a break from tachanun? The Tur quotes from Mevaseret Sofrim that the minhag is not to say tachanun for the entire month of Nissan. Why? The month of Nissan, says the Mevaseret Sofrim, is a month filled with happy days. How so? Usually we're familiar with Pesach, but Pesach is only 7 days or 8 days if you're in Chutz La'aretz. Why do we get a reprieve for the entire month? Says the Mevaseret Sofrim, there's other days, other things happened in Nissan. One is that the Mishkan was completed. The Mishkan was completed on Rosh Chodesh Nissan. Not only was the Mishkan completed on Rosh Chodesh Nissan, but in fact the Nesiim offered their karbanos for the 12 subsequent days after the Chanukas HaMishkan. Such that when you take Rosh Chodesh and the 12 days after, combine it with the 7 or 8 days of Pesach and Chutz La'aretz, we have most of the month of Nisan consists of happy days, and therefore we get a reprieve. We do not say tachanun for the entire month. The question is the timing of these two events, Pesach and the Chanukas HaMishkan, coincidental, or is there some connection between the two? The Aruch HaShulchan writes that because of the Gadlus HaChodesh, because of the greatness of the month of Nisan, the Mishkan was completed on Rosh Chodesh Nisan. Because Nisan was special and had already been designated by HaKadosh Baruch Hu as the month of Yetzias Mitzrayim, such a great month, it was fitting to have the Mishkan completed and to have the Nesiim offer their karbanos in celebration of that dedication. But once again, we can ask, is it just simply the greatness of the month? So we picked a nice month to finish the Mishkan? Or is there a deeper connection between Pesach, Yetzias Mitzrayim, and the Chanukas HaMishkan? The Ramban, in his introduction to Sefer Shmos, points out there are two central themes in Sefer Shmos. The first theme, of course, is Yetzias Mitzrayim. The Shibud Mitzrayim, the slavery in Mitzrayim, the subsequent Exodus, the freedom, Kriyas Yamsuf, etc. The other central theme in Sefer Shmos is the Mishkan. The latter half of the Sefer consists of the building of the Mishkan, the dedication, the donation of all of what was necessary to build the Mishkan. Those are the two central themes in Sefer Shmos, Yetzias Mitzrayim and the Mishkan. Says the Ramban, these two themes are connected in a very deep way. Says the Ramban, Yetzias Mitzrayim was the physical geula, the physical redemption from the bondage of Mitzrayim. However, in a spiritual sense, the people were still in Golus. The people were still in exile because they had not returned to the high level of the Avos. The Avos are called by Chazal the Merkava for the Shechina. The Avos are the embodiment, they bring down the Shechina into this world. And the people, the slave people, had not returned to that exalted level until they built the Mishkan. Once the Mishkan is completed, the Mishkan serves as that vehicle to bring the Shekhinah down into the world. As we know, the central part of the Mishkan, writes the Ramban, was the Aron, upon which the Shekhinah descended and spoke to Moshe and to all of Klal Yisrael. The Mishkan is all about Hashras HaShekhinah, bringing God's presence into the world, and thus bringing the Jewish people back to the level of the Avos. In that sense, the Mishkan is the completion of the Geula. The Geula began with the physical exodus from Mitzrayim and was completed by bringing the Mishkan, bringing down HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shekhinah into this world. That completes the Geula process. So says the Ramban in his introduction to Sefer Shmos. That being the case, we can suggest that the timing of the Chanukas HaMishkan, the fact that it was completed, Davkan Rosh Chodesh Nisan, and for the 12 subsequent days, the Nesiim offered their karbanos, this was no accident. The reason that the Mishkan was completed in Nisan is because Nisan is the month of Geula. It started as a month of physical Geula, physical redemption from slavery. And it concludes with a spiritual redemption, a spiritual geula, which is embodied by the building of the Mishkan, completed and dedicated on Rosh Chodesh Nisan and celebrated by the Nisim offering their karbonos for the 12 subsequent days. The Masechet Sofrim concludes with a fascinating point looking towards the future. The Masechet Sofrim says that in the future, the Beis HaMikdash HaShlishi, the third Beis HaMikdash, will also be built in the month of Nisan. Based on what we saw, this is no coincidence, since the month of Nisan is a month of Geula, starting with Yetzias Mitzrayim, furthered by the completion of the Mishkan, bringing God's presence into the world, and ultimately in the future, B'mheira v'yameinu, the Beis HaMikdash HaShlishi will also be completed in Nisan, thus making Nisan truly a month of Geula.